Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. This video is all about brushes. This video request came from my friend Laura. Thank you, Laura. I really appreciate you guys telling me what you want to see because that helps me just curate the best videos for you guys. But before I begin, I want to start by showing the results of the giveaway from last week's video. So if you tuned in, I did a giveaway competition, and I have here the little app I'm using to show the results for the video. So I've got everybody that entered on a little pinwheel. It wasn't a very large giveaway, but I'm gonna click and whoever gets picked is our winner. So here we go. All right, so it's Carol Herman. Congrats, Carol. I'll be looking for my little note to you about sending you that stuff. And thank you so much to everybody that entered. I really appreciate it. And stay tuned for more giveaways because there's definitely going to be more in the future. All right, so let's get started on brushes. So I love this question because I feel like brushes are something that we all have, we all use them. I feel like though there's not a lot of education out there for the best kind of brush and a lot of knowledge about like how to use different brushes for the best makeup application. So I think the truth of the matter is you could use any kind of brush for any kind of product. You're just going to get different results depending on the type of brush you use. So I have a couple different types of brushes for several different parts of my face. So I thought I could kind of go over those with you guys and just tell you like what kind of application you would be receiving if you use this type of brush, and how I like to use them to apply things. And then down in the description box below, I did a little bit of research on brush kits for you guys. So if you watch this video and you're thinking, okay, I need a brush overhaul, I have a couple different price points down below, and I feel like these brush kits give you everything that you need. They come all in one. And a lot of them, there's two that are kind of on the lower price point, but all three have excellent reviews. And then the last one is a little more expensive. And I mean, you know, if you spend more money, you're probably gonna get an even better application. But I personally think if the brushes have good reviews, even if they're on the lower end of the price point, it's still a great investment, and everybody should have, you know, brushes that they feel comfortable with and apply the makeup the way they want, because you can have a makeup product, but if you have a brush that is not good and that's what you're using, you're probably not going to get the full effect of that product at its best. So brushes, I feel like, really are truly a good investment. Anyway, let's get started. So let's do foundation brushes first. So these are the two brushes that I use for foundation. This one is a thicker brush. It's both of them, you can see, have kind of flat tops. A flat top is what you're looking for a foundation brush. With this brush, you're going to be getting a little bit fuller coverage because it's got shorter bristles and a denser feel. This one you're going to be getting probably a more medium coverage because it's much finer. The bristles are not as dense, and you're going to get a lot of product soaked into this type of brush. So really, both of these are good. I would say that I use this one predominantly. I just feel like I like working in smaller surface area spaces on my face, and I also use this brush a lot with concealer. I use concealer more than I use foundation, and I treat my concealer a lot like a foundation, so I blend it out with this most often. So let's talk about concealing brushes. So I have three types of concealer brushes, and the more dense you get, the less the product is going to move around. It's really going to stay in one place where you applied it, versus like this brush and this brush will kind of move the product around a little more. These are really great brushes for, let's say you're not wearing foundation and you kind of want a light makeup look. I would put just a little bit of concealer here, and then I would dab, 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 and it really stays kind of where I want it to be, and I can really pinpoint the exact place that I want coverage, and then really kind of take my time blending it in on either side or around my nose. These kind of brushes give you a lot of precision and it's a more natural look. This concealer look that I have on today, I used this brush to do it with. There's no foundation, it's just concealer over some kind of liquid luminizer. So, and really I don't have any other makeup on my skin here, but right under my eyes and around my nose is the only place that I put concealer, but I think it looks really natural. It doesn't look very obviously like concealer. So let's move on to bronzer. So I have like almost 3 bronzer, and honestly, let me group bronzer and blush together because I'm the kind of person that depending on how I want my bronzer and blush to apply, I'll use a different brush every day. So let's start with this one. This one you can see it kind of has an angled top and it's very fine. It's not very dense. This is a good bronzer brush because it kind of mimics the shape of the hollow of your cheek. So when you're going like this, you're gonna get a beautiful bronzer application, especially on your cheeks. So that's perfect for bronzer. I don't really use that one for blush mostly. This is actually more of a contouring brush and I like it because it's smaller. I just have this weird habit of wanting to use smaller brushes on my face. I'm not exactly sure why, it's just a comfort thing for me. But this is great for bronzer or blush. And honestly, I use it for powder products the most. So I'll use it as really to pinpoint exactly where I want to put my product. So this one, the smaller your brush, the more you can pinpoint placement. That's really kind of the note about smaller versus larger brushes. Now let's say that I want a really blown out, flawless, blended out look like I have today. I'll use this kind of brush. So see, it's a really, it's almost like a bowl brown shape and it's very fluffy. And so today I use that for bronzer and blush, and you can definitely see that you can't really tell where the bronzer and blush start and end. They're very diffused. So if you like that kind of lighter look, you're gonna wanna use a brush like this. And personally, if I'm doing like more natural looks, this is kind of the way to go for me because it's definitely, you're not gonna get a dramatic look. You're really gonna have to build up with this one before you get a very dramatic look. So if you're going for more natural and an easy application, I would say this is the kind of brush for you. This could be used for bronzer or for blush. Lastly, I have this really dense blush brush. And this one I really like for when I want a heavy blush application or I'm using a cream blush. So I'll take the cream and I'll just swirl the brush over it and then I'll apply it to my cheeks. And the reason I use this one for creams is because it's really dense. So it's definitely picking up the creams, but it's helping me really pinpoint the placement, like I said, because it's so stiff. It's not very flowy. I'm really having to press the bristles down. And so you can get a really beautiful blush application with this that has a lot of vibrancy, and it'll also really accentuate the apples of your cheeks for a really healthy glow. So those are all my cheek brushes. They're all different, but all beautiful and all kind of give you a different look. And then I only have one brush that I really use for highlighter, and it's this brush, and it is very fine, very wispy, and it has a kind of tapered top. And so I use this one because it gives me the most natural, glowing, flawless powder highlight application possible because it's so light. It's almost like you're dusting a feather on your cheekbones. And for me, that's the kind of application I want because I don't want to be laying down like a ton of light or sparkle onto my face. Another one kind of brush that you can use for highlight that's very popular is a fan brush. I don't actually own a fan brush. I have in the past, but they're just not my favorite. There's nothing wrong with them. It's just preference for me. So I have this one instead, but feel free. Sometimes if you order a brush set, it'll come with a fan brush for your highlight, and that's just as good. So let's move on to eyes, which is our final brush set. So let's do brows first. This is my brow pencil. It's got, it's a brush pencil. It's got a spoolie on one end to comb through your brows, and then it's got kind of a fine angled brush on the other side. This is so that you can make some very fine hair-like strokes with either a gel or a powder product. I don't often use this, my brows are so thick, but I do use the spoolie every day to comb through my brows. And I feel like that kind of brush is a must-have. And then I have 3 types of eye blending brushes. So this brush here is a double-sided, so it's a very fine point that barely moves, like it's not even, it doesn't budge. And then I have, it's more of a fine top blending brush at the top. This pointed end I use for the very outer corner of my eye. Because it has this small point, I can be really precise with the deep shades that I'm trying to use and really finely blend them out without having a big brush that is going to move the color all over my eyes. So that's really what I use this brush for. This end I use mostly for really like fine under eye movement because it's very small and it's not going to budge, but it still gives me blendability. So that's what I use that for. And then I have a large and smaller blending brush. So the large one is really when I'm wanting to use like a cream eyeshadow or a powder and I'm doing kind of a monochromatic look and I want to kind of have a lot of big surface area coverage because this really is large. So you're going to get a lot of surface area coverage with this one. Whereas with this one, I feel like this is my catch-all brush because it's very bendy and it's kind of small, but not too small. So I can still get a lot of surface area, but I can also be very precise. So this one is just kind of a catch-all, any kind of color, any kind of blending sort of thing. And if you want to have really beautiful blended out looks, you need the bristles to not be very stiff. You want them to be very fluffy and able to move because the more you have that, the more it's going to diffuse out your eye colors. So those are those. And then last but not least, I have an eyeliner brush. And this eyeliner brush, I love. It has a super fine tip and it's angled and it helps me do my eyeliner wing if I want to use like a gel or an eyeshadow to do that with. This one's great. I mean, it's pretty rare. I have a lot of pen eyeliners and eye gels so that I don't really end up using this one a ton, but when I do want to use it, it's a winner. Last but not least, I have a lip brush and I don't know where it is. I've been looking for it everywhere. It's probably hiding in a purse of mine. Lip brushes are great. I feel like lip brushes are nice for when you have a lipstick that is not balmy. It's definitely a brighter color that you want to have very clean edges on your lips. So like versus putting the bullet on straight, you would actually take the bullet on the brush first and then apply really, you know, accurately to your lips and make sure those lines are really perfect. That's really nice for me too when I have like a, maybe a lipstick that is really, if I put the bullet directly on my lips, it'll come out really dark or really vibrant. And I want it to be a lighter, more, a softer coverage. By using the brush, I can make it milder or I can make it louder depending on how much I want to build it up. So you can get like 3 different kinds of looks from one bullet of lipstick depending on how you apply it with the brush. So really, brushes are, that's kind of the beauty of brushes. Brushes take your makeup products that you already have and they allow you to apply them in different ways for different looks, for different styles that you want to conquer. So really, having a good brush set, I feel like, is such a big deal and can really change the whole kind of aesthetic of the makeup you already have because you can apply it different ways. So definitely don't be afraid to give these a look, and you can always go to your drugstore and buy brushes individually. Maybe you already love the brushes that you have, but you're thinking to yourself, okay, I don't have a brush that applies foundation the way I want. Go to the drugstore. They have a lot of individual brushes. I know Wet n Wild, e.l.f., Eco Tools, they all have really excellent brushes at really good price points. So you can go and hit up and pick up an individual brush, not an entire set. But if you are looking for a whole set overhaul, There's a great one at Ulta from BH Cosmetics that's $26. It's got everything you need plus a carrier. And I've got two other options down in the description box below. So also, if you want to know my way that I clean my brushes, definitely check out my makeup hygiene video. That's another video on my channel where I really go in depth about how I clean my makeup brushes. So if you're curious about that, check that out. So thank you so much, guys. I really appreciate all of you following along and learning this new stuff with me. It's been really exciting. Give this video a thumbs up if you liked it. Click the like button. Click subscribe if you'd like to know when I'm publishing more videos. That would be super helpful. And thanks. Bye.